will be titled Mistakes in My Career, and Ken will be evaluating Brian. To give some context to his speech, Brian will be speaking to a group of design students at Purdue on Friday, and will be practicing a part of that speech tonight. Brian?
It was a hot summer day. I packed everything I owned into the back of my small silver pickup truck. I rolled down the windows because I didn't have any AC, and I put in a mixtape of Led Zeppelin. And I took off from Michigan to Chicago. School was finally over. I was done, and I was ready to make some cash. I didn't have a job quite yet. I had directions for my friend Mike. Mike said, follow 94, keep going west, and keep following the signs to Wisconsin. And eventually, and it's kind of weird, you're going to be going to Wisconsin, but eventually you'll see Chicago. Get off at Fullerton, go for a couple miles, and take a right on Clark. So, 4.5-hour trip, and 6 hours later, I'm thinking maybe I followed the signs of Wisconsin a little bit too far. So I got out of the car and pulled over, called Mike from the payphone. I said, Mike, I don't know, it seems like I've been going for a long time. He said, what do you see around you? I said, it's a roller coaster, like Great America or something. He said, yeah, I think you've gone too far. I don't remember ever seeing a roller coaster on my way to Chicago. So I got back in my car, and an hour later, got off in Fullerton, went to Clark, and I was there. It was my very first mistake I made starting in my career. Right off the bat, I couldn't even find a place where I lived. And I would make plenty more along the way. Today, you're going to learn about some of the mistakes I made, and as a design student, maybe you can learn some of the ways that your career will be a little bit different from your school. You don't have to worry about taking notes. You can email me afterwards, and I'll follow up with the notes. And feel free to ask questions at the end. My very first boss was this guy named Harry Fisher. Harry was this great guy. He was from the old school. He definitely did not look for designers in his clothes. He wore plaid shirts and regular slacks. During interviews, Harry would ask you where your girlfriend lived because he knew that the guy always followed the girl. So if you answered the question you thought was a laid-back question, you said, oh, my girlfriend lives in New York. You might be disqualified for the job because he'd say, this guy's going to go to New York. Well, one day, I was talking to Harry, and I said, Harry, I'm thinking about getting a new car. And you wouldn't believe how excited Harry was. He was like, that's great, Brian. I am so excited for you. We talked about what car I was thinking about, and went on and on. And looked at new cars for a while. I remember one day we were at we were golfing on a golf league for our company. We were on the way back. We had had a couple of beers, and one of the guys we were with, Furyk, he's about 40 years old. He said, it was myself and another younger engineer. He said, are you guys putting money in your 401k? And we're like, yeah, kind of. The other guy was with Mike. He had this huge pickup truck with these giant tires. And Furyk's like, Mike, how much did you spend on those tires? Why don't you put like one tire's worth into your 401k? Mike's like, okay. I went back home and I thought about buying that new car. I made like $40,000 a year. I was going to get a $30,000 car or something. I was like, oh, maybe I don't need this new car. So I went out and I bought a used car. I went into work. I said, Harry, I got a new car. He's like, that's great, Brian. I said, well, it was new for me, I guess. It's a used car. I didn't feel like taking out a loan. Harry was so disappointed. It took me a while to understand why Harry was disappointed. But then these old school tendencies started to come through. I realized Harry knew that if I had taken out that loan, I would be his to own. anything that he wanted me to do, I would have to do. And that little lesson really came through as I got older and older, and I saw more folks as you get into your 30s and 40s. They have the big house and the big car. And pretty soon, you as design students could be working on really interesting things, or you could be designing a cap for a bottle over and over again for 10 years. And the difference might be how much flexibility you have. And money can buy a lot of great products, but it can also buy options as they come along. So I recommend, among other lessons you'll hear about today, is to keep your flexibility open so that you can take opportunities as they come.